Hey yo, what is going on? Yo, what's up guys, Anthony here. Welcome back to another video. In this video, I want to show you my process for writing $10,000 a day dropshipping ads without any large language models, ChatGPT, Claude, because honestly, guys, my best ads have come from when I do things manually. And I want to show you that process today, starting in this video, by first beginning with the process of doing manual research. So I want to show you that process step by step in this video, how you can copy it and how you can start to write your own 10K a day ads without using any AI tools. Because let's be honest, guys, AI is contributing to the widespread retardification of marketers everywhere. People are completely forgetting the fact that not too long ago, people were doing this process manually and making hundreds and hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars manually without any of these tools. And I want to show you how to do this because if you can learn how to master this, you will put yourself in a unique advantage compared to 99% of retards out there who are looking for the next video, looking for the next prompt, and are lazy and don't want to do the process manually, when in reality, all of my best ads have literally come from, like literally all of my winners have come off the back of doing manual work, starting with manual research. And of course, I want to show you guys that not only has this helped me achieve results, but we've got one of the best communities on the freaking planet. I mean, shout out to Zayd, 10K in 7 days. Shout out to Sam. This dude hit his first 10K day and he only turned 17. As I mentioned to him in his comments, when I was 17, bro, I was playing Monster Hunter or COD for 4 or 5 hours a day. I think Fortnite had just come out. So I was pretty much just gooning all day. This guy's 17 years old and hitting 10K a day. So he's way further ahead than me. But without wasting any time, let's jump into the video. And very quickly, I seldom talk about God tier ecom on this channel. I try not to promote it that much, but I do want to let you guys know that the price is going to go up for the first time in like 6 months on January 1st, and it's going to increase. So right now is literally the best time to lock in the price of $199 per month. The reason why it's increasing is because it's growing very, very fast, and I'm honestly just having trouble keeping up with everybody in the group and keeping my response time to everybody as high quality as possible. And so in order to make sure that I can keep the group high enough quality, I'm going to be raising the price. That's obviously going to mean fewer people join, but it's going to mean the people that do join are going to be of a little bit of a higher caliber and are even more serious. So let's jump into today's video. Now, what is manual research? What is the goal of manual research? The goal of doing any kind of research when you're going to write your ads, whether you're using ChatGPT or Claude, is to come up with ad ideas, things that you can turn into fully fleshed out and fully realized ad concepts, which you can then put into your ad account to test. So if we know the goal of research is to eventually create ads, then what are the things that we want to look for in the research that are going to allow us to create those ads? And this also applies to landing pages as well. So what things are we looking for? What are we researching? Exactly. I don't want to call it research. We're really just searching, not really researching. But what kinds of things are we searching for? Okay, so the things that we're searching for are the components of what will eventually make up a customer avatar. And the way that I define a customer avatar is the summation of these 7 things that you see on screen here, starting firstly with the logical desire, or the thing that somebody wants to get by using your product, followed by the emotional desire, what they actually want when they say they want this logical desire, the experiences they have, their awareness level in relation to the problem and the product, the beliefs that they have as a result of their desires and experiences, their behaviors as a result of their beliefs, and then lastly, their demographic information, how old they are, what's their gender, how much money do they make, etc. So these are the things that we're looking for when we're doing research. And I have a set of research questions to inform these things, these categories, in a much more intuitive way. So what do people want? What are they struggling with? What are they feeling? What have they gone through? What are they thinking? What specific words are they using to describe their situation? This is key here. There's specific words, the language that they're using. What are they really afraid of? How are they behaving? What do they believe? What have they tried before? What are their struggles in those failed solutions or solutions they've tried? What questions do they have? And what objections do they have? So when I'm doing research, I have this research question document opened up, usually in another tab or off to my left, and I just start doing research. Now, the best places to do research is the places that your customer avatar or your ideal customer is. Now, for me, there hasn't been a single product that I've run over the last 7, 8 years at this point. And in my agency work as well that I cannot find through Reddit. So Reddit for me is the number one public discussion forum for trying to understand and do manual research to be able to produce ad ideas. So the first step in doing the research is to first figure out and set a foundation for the research or a starting point for the research. So what we want to do is open up a Google document and you want to list out all of the product performances of your product, or in other words, all of the benefits of your product. So let's use the example of a cat water fountain. And we're just going to list out exactly as Schwartz demonstrates in his book, Breakthrough Advertising, listing out all of the product performances, everything that your product can offer to your customer. So in the case of cat water fountain, it can be increased hydration, or like better health. We have peace of mind. We have economics, or not economics, we'll say financial security, because if you properly hydrate your cat, you won't really have to worry about costly vet bills. So let's take these three things here and let's just assume this is everything our product can do, which in actuality it's not. But now what we want to do is we want to map these things out to broad mass desires that people already have or that already exist in the market. So an easy way to do this is to ask yourself, okay, if somebody wants increased hydration for their cat, what do they actually want? Why would they want that benefit? What are they gaining by experiencing that benefit or the performance of our product? So increased hydration would be better health for my cat. And then to phrase that as an I want statement so we can really visualize it, I want to protect my cat from dying. Okay. Or I want my cat to live a long, healthy life. So we're not going to do this for each and every single product performance, but this statement right here is the mass desire. This is what people actually want. So if somebody buys a cat water fountain because they want their cat to drink more water, what they're actually saying is, I want to protect my cat from dying. Perfect. So now that we have this mass desire here of what do people want, now we can start to use this to inform the research into what kinds of things people are struggling with who want this thing. So let me show you some various searches that I would make if I was starting with, I want to protect my cat from dying, or we could even phrase it as, I want my cat to drink more water because I want to protect my cat from dying. All right, desire. I would just start firstly with the product benefits. So I would just literally go into Google and type in, I would type in how to get my cat to drink more water. And a really easy way to do this, an intuitive way to do this, is imagine yourself as the person who is struggling with the problem. Imagine you are the person that wants your cat to drink more water. How are you going to search on the internet? How are you going to investigate different forums? What's your demeanor going to be like when you're doing the research? Like, don't think you're doing research for ads. Think you're the customer yourself and actually doing research to solve the problem. It's just like how if you're watching my content, you probably do a shit ton of research on YouTube and other forums and whatever to try and figure out what the best ad strategies are. Or like a good example is if you're in ecom, you probably have a lot of people that you follow on X. Think about how investigative. Is that a word? Think about how investigative you are when you are on Twitter or X trying to figure out, like, how do these guys run cost caps? That's the demeanor that you want to have when you're doing your research. So I'm going to type in, how do I get my cat to drink more water? Okay. And I'm just going to start clicking into various forums. So this is r/cat advice. This is a mainstay forum for the cat water fountain. I'll just tell you straight up. Let me collapse the navigation. And again, all I'm looking for here are answers to these questions, not in a linear fashion. But remember, all of these link back to how can I fill in the blanks for the logical desire, the emotional desire. We already have the logical desire, which is I want to prevent my cat from getting kidney disease, or I want to prevent my cat from dying. I want my cat to drink more water. What is the emotion that fuels that? What experiences do people have? What's their awareness level? So we can start firstly with emotion and then work our way down through each of these things. So what I would do here is look for these words, any words or phrases that would indicate emotion. You can even do like Command F and just type in like scared, or fear. Don't seem to see anything coming up here. What I could do is like, okay, what happens if my cat doesn't drink enough water? Reddit. See, Okay, I've just realized it's a good one. I just realized I've quite literally never seen my cat drink water. Is this concerning? Let's see. Am I overthinking this? You're all good. Okay, so it looks like a lot of people are worried about dehydration. So I would just type in like cat is dehydrated. Reddit. Okay, as you can see, I've been to all these forums before. Okay, so let's go and click into one of these. Does my cat look dehydrated? Someone here told me she only likes dry food. You should take her to a vet. Blah 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 blah. Okay, now I'll type in like risks of dehydration in cats. Reddit. Cat was locked for 5 days without food or water. Is he okay now? Holy shit, dude. Okay, let's see. Okay, now that we've gone through, I can see here I would get him to a vet to check for liver slash kidney damage and advanced dehydration. So it looks like okay, in looking at our research question, um, what are they really afraid of slash what are people struggling with? Ultimately, what happens? I guess I could add here. I don't know why I don't have this. If they don't solve their problem. Okay, so what happens if they don't solve their problem? Or we could say like, what happens if they don't fulfill their logical desire? Okay, so now that I have an answer to the question of what happens if they don't fulfill their logical desire, what happens if they don't solve their problem? Or in other words, what happens if we leave this problem untreated? What's the worst possible thing that could happen? Based on the research that we did, it looks like liver and kidney disease or kidney damage is eventually what's going to happen if somebody doesn't solve this problem. Okay, so we can even write this down. I would even just say like leads to kidney disease slash kidney damage. And then I would take this term, and then now that I know what somebody wants to achieve, right? The surface desire, the deeper sort of emotional desire, which is they want to protect their cat from dying. Now we know that the reason why is because if they don't solve this problem, this is eventually going to lead to something like kidney disease or irreversible kidney damage. So then I would basically just go into my search bar and start typing in something as super simple as, will my cat have kidney disease or will my cat get kidney disease? Because you have to remember where we are right now in this sort of avatar building block here is we have the logical desire, we have the emotional desire. It's very obvious that people are scared of their cats dying. Now where we want to sort of deviate is, let's get rid of these just so we can focus, is what we want to look for are certain experiences that people have that are going to change the way in which we communicate the logical desire and the emotional desire. So it sounds a little bit complicated, but let me break it down for you like this. So if we have a logical desire, let's say the desire is, I want to prevent my cat, or I want to protect my cat rather, from dying, or we'll say like kidney disease. Actually, let's just say I want to protect my cat from dying. We know the emotional desire there is I am scared my cat will die, primarily feeling fear. Now, the experience is where it's going to change, or the experience changes how we need to present this message or how we need to leverage this desire in our ad copy. So if we're writing to somebody who already lost their cat versus somebody who has, we'll say like first time cat owner, scared, or we'll say like anxious of kidney disease. But hasn't lost a cat. We'll just say first time cat owner who hasn't lost a cat before. Okay. Hopefully it's evident to you that marketing to somebody who's already lost one cat to kidney disease is going to be very different than marketing to somebody who is a first-time cat owner who hasn't lost a cat before. Obviously, if someone hasn't lost a cat before to something like kidney disease, they might not even be aware that kidney disease is a problem. Or maybe they are aware, maybe they don't feel that urgency to take the next step. Maybe the primary emotion they're feeling is something like fear, right? Now, if you contrast that with somebody who is already lost one cat to kidney disease, maybe instead of fear, I have guilt. I have guilt / shame. I lost my first cat to something preventable. Okay. So as you can see, depending on the experience that somebody has, the experience can drastically change the kind of emotions that we need to appeal to in our copy. So first time cat owner, again, who hasn't gone through that visceral, devastating experience of losing a cat, maybe they don't have, well, actually, they don't probably have any guilt or shame. They're probably just more so feeling fear, anxiety, or nervousness about the future. Whereas if you contrast that with somebody who's already lost their cat to kidney disease, maybe they don't feel, well, they probably still do fear it, but perhaps a more substantial emotion in their purchase decision is going to be something like guilt and shame. And I know these are two very, very negative emotions, and that's because we're talking in the context of wanting this particular desire being something that is more negative. But this applies to positive desires as well, or people who have desires that they want to aspire to something. Like, I want my cat to be happy. Same thing. Different experiences are going to fuel different emotions, which are going to be different motivations that we have to appeal to when we're writing our copy and trying to drive conversions. So what we are going to do now is we want to look for what these emotions are and what the experiences are in the research that we have. So assuming, will my cat have kidney disease? Let's go ahead and click in. Okay, so I'm on this forum, chronic kidney disease, and I found a gold mine here of information because this lady right here, here she is. My girls were diagnosed with CKD at 7 years old. Immediately per vet orders, put them on CKD diet, no dry food at all. So no dry food at all. All wet food they ate had additional water added to it. Fresh cold water always available, and they took a CKD supplement prescribed by a vet. They lived for another 11 years and never progressed past early stage CKD. Essentially, we managed to halt it. My game plan with my new cats is to never have them enter CKD, immediately begin CKD techniques. We will find out at their second annual checkup if it's working. This is textbook information that will go into writing an ad. And again, as you're doing research, you want the process to be very organic. You want it to be very loose because we're doing something that is very difficult to quantify. This is more of a qualitative practice than it is one of trying to find exact information or exact technical stuff. Like, all we're doing is trying to get qualitative information that we can then weave into our ads. And we do this by better understanding the people that we're actually selling to. So this is a perfect example of how you can see somebody who's already gone through losing a cat to kidney disease, or somebody who's already experienced kidney disease. They're going to have totally different emotions. Where is my graph from earlier? They're going to have totally different emotions, different experiences, different beliefs, different behaviors. So if we bring this back, if we bring this thing back, the experience and what people have gone through impacts everything with regards to your avatar. So it's not enough to know what the desire is, right? Going back to our research questions, it's not enough to know what people want. You really have to understand what they're currently going through and how that impacts what they believe, how they think, and how they behave. So if I was to fill out this avatar, I'd basically kind of use these research questions, and these are going to be linked in the description below. But essentially, we have somebody here who wants their cat to drink more water because they want to protect their cat from dying. They know this leads to kidney disease / kidney damage. And as you can see, this person is definitely sophisticated. They are trying a bunch of different solutions. So there's no dry food. They're adding water to the food. They're taking CKD supplements. Essentially, we managed to halt chronic kidney disease in its early stages. So again, going back to this beliefs section here, not only has this person gone through chronic kidney disease, their awareness is problem. They're aware of the problem. They're aware of specific solutions to the problem. They might even know about cat water fountains, but they didn't say anything there. Their beliefs are that with enough effort, they can actually halt chronic kidney disease. Because if you just read the research, essentially, we managed to halt chronic kidney disease in its early stages. So this is a person that believes they can actually prevent chronic kidney disease entirely, or at least halt it and mitigate it completely. Let's go back to, and obviously looking at their behaviors. They're adding water to the food. They're feeding only prescription food. They're doing constant annual checkups. And then the demographics here are obviously somebody who has already had a cat or has multiple cats and lost a cat. That's more demographic information. So very quickly, in just the span of like one comment here, there's so many different ways you could take it. You could start to build a customer avatar just based on this individual forum. You could also start to take some things from this forum and start to feed it back into your searching. So I could say, okay, this is interesting. we managed to halt chronic kidney disease in its early stages. I might type into Reddit. Okay, so here I am. I just typed in, based on this Reddit, essentially we managed to halt chronic kidney disease in its early stages. So I've typed in how to slow down kidney disease in its early stages. And here I am on this forum right now. Again, somebody just made a post literally asking that exact thing, how to slow down early kidney disease. Hello, we just got the blood work results in. He's the love of my life. So when I learned that his bun and creatine levels are increasing, I felt devastated. This could literally be the opening lead. This could be one of your opening leads to a piece of copy for a cat water fountain. Something. I live in California with my husband, David. This is my cat, Simba. He is the love of my life. So when I learned that his bun and creatine levels are increasing, I felt devastated. The vet said I should keep him hydrated. How can I make this disease easier for him and me? What is your best advice? Thank you in advance. So these people are actively looking for solutions to their problem. And here's the first comment. My cat Teddy is 17, diagnosed with stage 2 CKD in January of this year. We switched to a renal diet and started giving him Porous 1 every day. So don't despair. CKD can progress very slowly, and it would seem that a renal diet and probably also the Porous 1 can make a huge difference. So again, here are some obviously, if somebody is saying don't despair, there's another emotion that somebody's having, despair. And then obviously, this is another person that is demonstrating the fact that a lot of people in this niche or in our avatar group really believe that you can prevent CKD. Meaning, if you get CKD, it's not like all hope is lost. These people strongly believe in the idea that if your cat gets CKD, you can prevent it if you take the necessary precautions. And that's going to be very critical, a very critical component for us to leverage in our ads as well. Here's another brain dump. So again, it looks like a lot of these people that do have experience with chronic kidney disease, a lot of them end up switching to an all wet diet. That seems to be pretty much the name of the game. That could be another belief that we leverage. New research shows that switching to an all wet diet is not enough to slow down CKD. That could be a hook in and of itself, right? You'll notice a theme of keeping watch. I really do suggest a written journal. These guys are keeping written logs of their cats. And look, 21 upvotes on this comment. What's great with Reddit research and why I love doing it here the most is because the upvote system is a direct indication of how many people are resonating with a particular thing, because people upvote it when they agree with it. And so the more that a comment has upvotes, the more people agree with something or resonate with it. So these guys, like, this is insane, man. All of this could be built into an avatar, but to prevent this video from becoming 3 hours long, let me show you now how we consolidate all this information. And again, as I'm doing research, I tend not to be very, very strict. I will literally just take stuff like this and I'll just paste it into my Google Doc like that. I really won't try to overthink it, because the whole point of this research process is to be as fluid as possible. And I would literally just copy paste this. Boom. Dude, my browser is so weird right now. Wait. All right, there we go. So what we can start to do now is, from this, we're going to create an avatar. And each of these things can start to turn into their own individual ad ideas. But just to keep this video very tangible, we're going to create our customer avatar really quickly to give ourselves a starting ground and to show you how you start to turn this manual research into actual tangible things that you can use to create ads. So surface desire. I'm just going to write this all down. Okay, so in the span of about 15 minutes, I've been able to put together a pretty comprehensive customer avatar that I can now use as the basis for writing long form ads, advertorials, and pretty much any marketing material, whether it's UGC, video ads, whatever. So now I understand that the surface desire for people who want their cats to drink more water is to keep their cat healthy. The emotional desire, or the emotion they're trying to avoid in this case, is they are scared their cat will die. The experience of this particular avatar that I want to focus on is people that have already lost one cat to CKD or some form of dehydration related illness. Their awareness level is solution to product aware, meaning they know the problem, know of, and have tried solutions, and maybe even our product as a solution, which is the cat water fountain. It's probably a good mix. I would safe to assume that if someone's gone through CKD, they probably know everything there is to know about how to prevent it. So they're probably more product aware, if anything. Their beliefs, this is really critical. If I take precautionary measures, I can mitigate CKD entirely. So they believe in the fact that they can actually take preventative measures in CKD, but they also believe an all wet food diet is non-negotiable. And I've also seen in the research that they basically think that all wet food is mission critical. So we could even say like all wet food solves everything. Or takes care of majority of it. So again, these are beliefs that we'd want to leverage in our copy. These are also beliefs that we need to challenge in our copy. Meaning, if somebody believes that, okay, I've already lost one cat to CKD, and they believe that they can take precautionary measures and that all wet food solves everything, then no matter how much selling of my water fountain, no matter how great my water fountain is, if they believe that all they need to do is feed their cat wet food, then they're never going to buy my product, which means in my copy and in my ads, I have to do an effective job at convincing them that this belief is incorrect. So I need to show them through logic, through reasoning, through research that, hey, your belief is actually not correct and that all wet food is not enough to prevent CKD. I wrote down some behaviors here as well. So written log of behavior. This is insane. Like the fact that people are actually taking a written journal of things you notice, writing down behaviors, keeping track of anything, being very like meticulous with how you pay attention to your cat. And then demographics, people that own multiple cats or has owned and lost a cat in the past. And as you can see, I have a very, very clear picture of who this person is and the person that I'm going to be selling to. And again, as we talked about earlier in this section here, if I change the experience of people that I am targeting, then everything is going to be completely different. Like if I change this to, I've never lost a cat, or let's say I haven't lost a cat to CKD, then obviously all of this is going to be completely different. Somebody who hasn't lost a cat to CKD might even be unaware. They might not even know the problem exists. Or perhaps they are problem aware. They know of the problem, but because they've never lost a cat, they don't feel that level of urgency to actually take action. So manual research, again, as you have these questions in your mind, you should be trying to get a really solid understanding of who it is you're selling to. Going back to the document here, like again, the research process really shouldn't be super like linear or step-by-step. You want it to be very free-flowing, very relaxed. The first thing that you start with when you're doing research, just to give you an actionable takeaway from this video, is you always start with the mass desire. What do people want? And then you use that to inform, let's go here. You use that to inform all of these other categories. So your first starting block, think of like Monopoly and Pass and Go. This is the starting block for every piece of research. What do people want? And then you look for the things that inform essentially why people want this thing. So their emotions, what they've gone through, what's their awareness level, what do they believe, what behaviors, what demographic or demographical information is there for this particular person. And if you answer all of these questions, and if you go through this step by step, right, you will then be able to generate ad ideas. And I'll show you how to do that. Now we actually will start to use some ad AI. So let me do this. I'm going to copy all of my research here. There's basically two ways you can go about it. So what I did really quickly here was I told Claude to come up with 10 advertorial angle ideas for this particular avatar and research, and then I just copy pasted in that entire document. And as you can see, some of the ideas are okay. Some of them are decent, like they're not the best if I'm being honest with you, but it's so easy to take one of these things and just turn them into a hypothesis. So again, going back to this idea of all wet food they ate had additional water added to it, or if we go up to going back to our document, where's our document? This isn't even the right document. Okay, let's go back to, where was it? Here. Okay, I immediately switched to all wet food. If this is a belief that somebody has, I can just take this one statement and I can turn it into an ad. And let me show you how. So what I've done here is all I did was took one snippet of my research, and that's all it takes. Literally one sentence, one phrase, sometimes even like a couple words is all it takes. And one thing that I love to do to start to get some serious like ad ideas is using this website, 100 Greatest Headlines Ever Used. And I'll say something very simple as, hey, I have this belief here. I immediately switched to all wet food. Let's create some headlines that leverage this belief about all wet foods. And with a little bit of massaging and going back and forth, I was able to walk away with headlines that could be the starting basis for a long form piece of copy, like the one that you see here. So going back into these ideas, I really, really like this one, why some cats still develop CKD even with perfect diets. You could start to take this. This could be its own piece of copy. Why some cats still develop CKD even with all wet food diets. Now imagine somebody who is our customer avatar, who wants their cat to be healthy, who's scared their cat will die, who's already lost a cat to CKD, who believes that if they take precautionary measures, they can mitigate it, who believes that an all wet food diet is non-negotiable and that it solves everything, and has already lost a cat and is terrified they're going to lose another one. Imagine they read this headline: why some cats still develop CKD even with all wet food diets. I'm directly calling out the belief that they have. They think everything is fine. They think everything is perfectly good. But here I am directly calling that out and challenging that. I think I'm going to write the ad right after this. Let's see another one. How I halted CKD in early stages and what I do differently to prevent it entirely. I mean, that's amazing. I would actually even... Dang, this is a good one too. The secret of cats who never enter CKD. Okay, we've already got 3. Oh, this one's good too. Holy shit. This is insane. All right, a little prevention mistake that cost a cat owner 3 extra years. Amazing. And then the secret of cats who never enter CKD. It's not what you think. Love that. And then how I halted CKD in early stages and what I do to prevent it entirely. Amazing. Let me go this. All right. These are all first sentences for long form copy that I can now generate with prompts that are linked in the description of this video. And all we did was a little bit of manual research and a little bit of AI usage. I know I said not to use AI, but 99% of that process was AI. You probably could just read this and then create the headlines yourself. But now, as you can see, based on the research, we can start to fully flesh these out into long form copy and use these as the basis. I mean, for me, this is fucking the best one. Why some cats still develop CKD even with all wet food diets. You could put any, like basically any solution or belief that somebody has, and this headline will crush. And then, yeah, pretty much based off of this, I would start to actually write some ads. And in future videos, probably in the next video after this, I'm gonna show you how I actually manually write copy by piecemealing all of this research and customer reviews and using my swipe files and all that good stuff. But for now, I wanted to do this video on research because manual research in our community, it's one of the most common, it's one of the most common things that I see amongst the people in here that are scaling to 5, 10, 20, 30K a day is all of them are in some way, shape, or form, myself included, implementing manual research. And a lot of my really, like my best performing ads have all come from manual research, or even just one little snippet, one little comment that I eventually took and then used it in an ad. And AI is great for doing research. It's good for getting you 80% of the way there. But the remaining 20% of extra insight, of untapped desires, untapped angles, untapped everything comes from doing the research manually and really getting to understand your customer as strongly as you can. So guys, that is going to do it for this video. We covered a shit ton in this video. I had an initial idea for this video and then we just went in fucking 20 different directions. So I hope you guys enjoyed this content. As always, if you did, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. The research questions document is going to be linked in the description of this video. All of my prompts are in the description of this video as well. So once you start to write some headlines or you get some ad ideas, you can start to build those into long form copy, image ads, and advertorials as well. Let me know in the comments below what kinds of content you guys want to see next, or any issues you're currently struggling with, any bottlenecks you're currently facing in your business, so that way I can make content on it and help you out. Manual research is something that I get asked about pretty much every single day inside of the community, as well as I've seen a couple comments on it as well. So I decided to make this video kind of organically, just how I do the research process. So hope you guys enjoyed the content as always. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Oh, by the way, as a reminder, God's Tier Comp price is going up January 1st. So if you want to join for the best price ever, first link in the description. Otherwise, catch you in the next one. Peace.